Planning your next fence or deck just got easier. In this walkthrough, we'll show you how to design a fence or deck project, generate a material list, and plan with confidence.
Okay, so this is the Nuvo Studio design tool. To start off, we can go into My Projects. This area will allow you to register as a user and give you the ability to save projects, to come back later and make edits if you need to. So if you're not signed in, you will see a login screen. And from there you can register. Pretty typical form to fill out: name, email address, customer type. Once you hit register, you will be prompted with a code that's sent to your email. And once you validate that code, you will be successfully signed up. Going back to the landing page, we'll go into the design area. This will load into a blank scene. You can click and drag your mouse around the visualizer to move around. You can change the lighting angle with the time of day in the corner. We can minimize that to give ourselves some extra space. On the left, you have your product panel. And to start out, we will select a fencing type. So I'm going to start with iron fence. And you can select a profile that you want to see. Choose this one here. You can make some changes to the post caps. Some other options like having a surface mount for hard surfaces. Just going to leave that as it is for now. Then once you select a height option, a fence object will be placed into the scene for you. So here we can see that. When you click on an object, the camera will automatically focus on the thing that you clicked on. Let's go back to ball cap. All right. You can use your scroll wheel to zoom in and out to get a better view. You click away from an object, you can see like the control points and the dimensions disappeared, so I don't have anything selected at the moment. If I click back on the fence object again, it will give you some points and some dimensions, and now you can use these to change the shape of your perimeter. So if I click and drag one of these points, it will change the overall shape. And when I let go, or if I stop my mouse, it will redraw the fence to the shape that I have there. If you need some additional control, you can click on the dimensions that are in between the points, and that will bring up another menu. And you can type in your dimensions manually. So if I want this edge to be 10 feet long, you can type those in. And it's going to ask you which point you want to have remain where it is. So if I select A, point A will stay where it is, and point B will move such that that edge is 10 feet long. And there we go. Okay, so we had some other options in here as well. If I don't want one of these sides filled in with fence, I can click on that dimension, and I can show/hide that section. So now it is hidden. Even hidden sections, when you select your fence object, will still have an edge here, so you can come back in and show that section if you need to. Okay, so if I need to make some additional changes to the shape, the control points themselves you can click and release, and you have another option, another set of options available to you. So if I want to select notch, you can see what that does here. It's going to notch that corner and gives us some additional points so we can further adjust that shape as needed. And the other option was to have a 45-degree angle. So those are some additional tools available to help you trace out the perimeter of your project. So the next step, once you have that all straightened out, here, to select and place a gate. So in the gate section, you will be able to select the gate that you wish to place. And once you click on it, the fence will highlight the edges where there is enough space to place that gate that you selected. And then all you need to do is click on the edge. By default, the gate is placed in the middle along that edge. You also have the option of clicking on the gate to select it, and you have a little reticle down here, move icon, so you can click and drag that icon along the edge of the fence to position your gate. Maybe some instances where you want to place a gate a specified distance from one of these corner posts. So the way to do that, I'm actually going to get rid of this gate first. So on this edge, if I select the dimensions, you might have seen this earlier, but there was another option for adding a node. So that's going to add another one of these points along this edge. And then you can click and drag this point much the same way that you do the others. But if I want this to be precisely 5 feet from the corner, I'm going to select that, and I will click on A so that point B moves toward the corner. So now I have that node there, and I'm not going to move that anymore. I'm going to select the gate again. Click on this side of the green line, so it's going to place it on this edge between the node that we just added and this corner here. And then I can select the gate and drag it all the way over. And once you hit that node, it won't let you move it any farther than that. So now you know it's placed up against that node, and the gate is 5 feet away from the corner. Next, you have your hardware. So by default, it's going to have a single gate hardware kit for the gates that you place. If you want the self-closing upgrade, then you can select that one. And it does do the change for any gate that you have in the scene. And we can see the changes in the bill of materials here. You do need to have an account to view the material list. So I'm going to log back into mine. Okay. Down here at the bottom, you can see that there's the gate kit and the upgrade kit. Just real quick, I will go back and select the original gate kit so we can see the change. So now we only have the gate kit, and the self-closing upgrade is no longer part of the list. While we have the materials list open, you have the option of either emailing this list at any time. So you can send it to yourself or to a customer, email it wherever it needs to go, or you can download the list locally to your computer, and there will be a PDF with all the same information that you see here. Okay, so the next section, we can get into adding a deck. I'm going to change the shape of this a bit. By default, the deck we add is going to try to fit itself inside of these points, but it does default to a size of 20 by 20. So I want to make sure I at least have enough room here. Before I drop that in, you can see there's some other options to remove these notches and angles that we put in. we can also remove any extra nodes that are along edges here. Okay, so in the inspiration sections for adding a deck, this will replace everything you have in the scene. So if you just want to add a deck, you want to create your own. There are some different pre-made shapes. I'm going to start with a square. So it drops in a deck, and this also has a set of control points that do operate very similarly to how the fence shape works. And we can also do things like add levels to the deck. This works the same way as gates. So if you click on one of these options, it will highlight the edge of the deck that you can add them to. Let's make sure I have enough space there. Then you can still change the shape of the levels that you add. You can also change the color just to make it fit your scene a little bit better. Change the direction of the decking boards. It changes the color of everything together by default, but you can select what specifically you want to have the color changed up here at the top of the deck color menu. You can also add stairs. So we can click on the Add Stairs button, and it will highlight the edges of the deck where you can add the stairs. Click on the edge, and we have some stairs dropped in. And these have control points similar to the other objects, where you can also change the dimensions by typing them in manually. In similar fashion, we have railing. So you can select to use a kit. You can select which length of kit you want and the height option. Or you can select to only use the balusters instead of the pre-made kits. Along with the option to select a different post cap. And if you need, there are walls that you can add to the decks. Kind of add a wall. Click the edge you want to add it to. And you can change how that wall sits on the edge of the deck as well, using the control points or manually typing in your dimensions. Lastly, here we have some decorative options that can be added. There's a pool. If you click on the pool and then hover your mouse into the scene, you have a bouncing arrow. Once you click, let go, it will put the pool in that spot, and you have the option of resizing it or dragging it around. Along with some furniture options just to help build out your scene a bit more. These ones are purely cosmetic, but help give it that more of a lived-in feel. Also have some plants. And the option to change the background. We can go back to the grid view. Okay, and at the end of every section, you have the option to see your materials list or your bill of materials. So you can kind of see as you're going along how this changes. and what you'll need for your project completion. Okay, so if we need to upload a photo, you have the option of doing that here. It'll ask you which photo you want to upload. So if I select this one here, you are presented with some silhouettes, and there's a grid option on the ground. We have to get some sizing clues to be able to portray everything that you put in the scene as accurate as possible, so the scale is correct. So the way we do that is to drag these reticles, and typically what we do is put them up against either a wall or a fence, whatever's going to be at the back of the scene. Anything that's placed behind this line and grid won't be visible. That's also what that gold line represents in the view where you can click and drag and do all your design. So I'm going to place these guys here up against the corners of the house. And they represent somebody that is 6 feet tall. So we can use a scale slider to change their appearance in the scene. So we want to size them to they look about 6 feet in context for what's in the photograph. And then we also have a perspective slider that's going to adjust these lines here on the ground so you can get everything lined up. Okay, so once we have that looking good, we can go into the build and customize section. This is going to bring everything from the design view into the photo, and also give you some additional options down here. So the orbit, if I click the orbit button, that takes us back to where we were before. So we're able to click and drag around the scene. The ground level is from the perspective of where the photograph was taken. From here, we can't really move around, but you can still make changes. Or we have the bird's eye view, which is from above, and you can kind of get an idea for how the photograph is actually projected into the scene. So as you can see, when we placed those points up against the wall of this house, can't really get behind there anymore, and the photograph is projected much like a movie onto a screen. But from any of these views, we can make changes to our scene if we need to. We can click and move things around. We can make edits to the fence and switch back and forth between the three of them. 3 different views. And then from there, if your project is done, you have the option to save it if you created an account and are logged in. So I've already saved this one as project 1, but if I save it again, it will allow me to overwrite the project. So now the project is saved, and can log back in a later time and view it again, or make changes, or come in and see the material list, or email the list, whatever I need to do.